Utah is a land of redstone deserts, ghost towns swallowed by silence, and mountains that cast shadows longer than time itself. Beneath its breathtaking landscapes lurk stories not found in travel brochures, tales of restless spirits, cursed grounds, and the whispers of those who never truly left. Tonight, we'll descend into the heart of Utah's haunted past, wandering through abandoned mining camps, desolate cemeteries, and towns where every creaking board seems to breathe. Keep your eyes sharp, because in Utah, sometimes the ghosts are watching you before you ever see them. 1 Skinwalker Ranch, Winter County, Utah. At the very top of Utah's haunted places lies Skinwalker Ranch, a location so infamous it has become a legend far beyond the state's borders. Nestled in the Uinta Basin, this remote stretch of land is a hotspot for the paranormal UFO sightings, strange creatures, and terrifying encounters that defy explanation. For centuries, the land was avoided by the Navajo people, who spoke of skinwalkers, shapeshifters who could take the form of animals or twisted human shapes. When ranchers settled here, their stories echoed those legends. Cattle were found mutilated with surgical precision. Glowing lights hovered silently over the fields, and shadows prowled just beyond the fence lines. The family who once lived here reported doors opening by themselves, heavy footsteps stomping across the porch, and guttural growls outside their windows. At times, strange beasts were spotted, wolf-like creatures that shrugged off bullets, or humanoid figures with glowing eyes. Paranormal investigators who set up equipment on the ranch recorded electromagnetic disturbances, strange voices and sightings they couldn't explain. Perhaps the most chilling detail is the overwhelming sense of dread reported by nearly everyone who sets foot on the property. Even hardened researchers left shaken, describing the feeling of being hunted by something unseen, something ancient. Skinwalker Ranch is not a simple haunting. It is a place where reality itself seems fractured, where folklore, fear, and the unknown collide. To stand here is to step into a story that has no ending, a mystery that refuses to be solved. 2. The Rio Grande Depot, Salt Lake City, Utah. The Rio Grande Depot, once a bustling train station built in 1910, is an architectural gem that hides a much darker reputation. Travelers come here for its history, but many leave unsettled, whispering about the Purple Lady. Legend says she was a woman who died tragically in the 1940s, struck and killed by a train while searching for a lost engagement ring on the tracks. Since then, countless witnesses have described seeing her apparition, a young woman in a flowing purple dress, wandering the station with a sorrowful gaze. Some say she appears in mirrors, others on the platforms, her form dissolving as trains thunder past. But she's not alone. Staff members have reported hearing footsteps in the Grand Hall when it's empty, or the sound of train whistles echoing through the depot at night, even though no trains have stopped here in years. Phantom luggage carts rattle across the floors, and doors open and close as though guided by invisible hands. One particularly eerie story tells of a guard who locked up the building late at night. As he turned off the final light, he saw the Purple Lady standing at the end of the hall. When he called out, her face twisted into a look of despair before she vanished into the shadows. He quit his job the next morning, vowing never to return. The Rio Grande Depot is beautiful. Yes, but it's also a place where tragedy lingers, where a single moment of heartbreak has stretched into eternity. 3. Old Tuilla Hospital Asylum, Mother Tuilla, Utah. If Utah has a place that feels torn straight from a nightmare, It's the old Tuil Hospital, better known today as Asylum 49. What began as a family home in the late 1800s was converted into a hospital, then later into a nursing home. The building absorbed layer after layer of suffering births, deaths, madness, and despair until its walls could hold no more. Now it's infamous for its hauntings. Paranormal investigators claim Asylum 49 is one of the most active sites in the western United States. Shadows dart across rooms, voices whisper directly into ears, and sudden drops in temperature chill to the bone. Nurses who once worked here reported patients speaking of children standing in their rooms, though no children were ever admitted. The most infamous spirit is known as the Guardian, a tall, dark figure who appears in doorways, blocking escape. Some visitors have felt hands grabbing their shoulders, only to find no one behind them. One group of ghost hunters even captured a clear recording of a voice warning them to get out. Today, Asylum 49 operates partly as a haunted attraction, but even seasoned actors refuse to be alone in certain rooms. Imagine standing in a hallway where dozens of patients took their final breaths, the smell of antiseptic still faintly clinging to the air, and hearing a hospital bed roll slowly behind you. Would you dare to turn around? Asylum 49 isn't just haunted, it's alive with the memory of every soul that suffered within its walls. And it doesn't like to be forgotten. 4 McCoon Mansion, Salt Lake City, Utah. Perched on a hill overlooking Salt Lake City, the McCoon Mansion radiates elegance by day, but by night, its beauty twists into something unsettling. Built in 1901 by railroad tycoon Alfred McCoon, this sprawling mansion was meant to symbolize wealth and triumph. Instead, it has become one of Utah's most haunted landmarks. Visitors describe a sudden chill as soon as they cross the threshold, as though unseen eyes are already watching. One of the most common apparitions is a woman in period dress who glides through the halls, often vanishing at the foot of the grand staircase. Some believe she is Elizabeth McCoon, forever wandering the home she adored. But not all the spirits here are gentle. Musicians who perform in the mansion's ballroom report hearing phantom music, a piano playing on its own, or violins tuning in the darkness. Lights flicker in empty rooms, and footsteps echo overhead when no one is upstairs. One chilling tale tells of a caretaker who locked up the mansion for the night. As he stepped outside, he saw a figure standing at the upstairs window, staring down at him. Thinking he had forgotten a guest, he rushed back inside, but the house was empty. The window he had seen the figure in opened slowly, creaking in the wind, though no one was near it. Would you dare to walk its halls alone, knowing that beauty and dread share the same walls here? The McCoon Mansion is proof that even luxury cannot keep death from lingering. 5. Grafton Ghost Town, near Zion National Park, Utah. Few places in Utah are as hauntingly picturesque as Grafton, a ghost town near the shadow of Zion's cliffs. At first glance, its weathered homes and old schoolhouse look like a set piece from an old Western film. But stay long enough, and you realize the silence here isn't natural, it's oppressive, heavy with the memory of those who built and lost this town. Founded in 1859 by Mormon settlers, Grafton was cursed almost from the beginning. Floods destroyed crops, disease spread through the community, and conflicts with local tribes left the settlers shaken. By the early 20th century, the town was abandoned, its cemetery growing far faster than the town itself. Visitors who wander the graveyard often leave shaken, Voices whisper across the desert air, and some claim to see children in pioneer clothing darting between the gravestones before vanishing into the sagebrush. The old schoolhouse creaks with footsteps long after the last lesson was taught, as though invisible children are still trapped inside, repeating their daily routines. Photographers who come here for the ghostly scenery sometimes capture more than they intended: blurry figures appearing in windows, faces reflected in glass where no one stood. Others describe the sudden feeling of being surrounded, as though dozens of unseen eyes are fixed on them. Grafton is more than an abandoned town. It is a frozen echo of hardship and grief, where the ghosts of pioneers linger in the dust, unwilling to let their stories fade. Sixth Ben Lomond Hotel, Ogden, Utah. Downtown Ogden hides a towering relic of the 1920s, the Ben Lomond Hotel. Once a glamorous stop for travelers and celebrities, it has become a place where the walls themselves seem to hold whispers. The hotel changed hands and names over the years, but one thing never left its ghosts. The most infamous story comes from room 1102, where a bride took her own life after her new husband was killed in an accident. Guests who stay there speak of a woman's sobs drifting from the bathroom, or the sensation of cold water dripping on their skin while the shower remains dry. Some even report the sight of a woman in a tattered wedding gown roaming the halls, searching endlessly for the life she was denied. Other rooms have their own horrors. One man drowned in the bathtub of room 1106, and visitors swear they've heard splashing water and frantic gasps, though the tub is empty. Elevators move without being called, stopping on floors where no one waits. Doors slam shut with violent force, and staff who once worked the night shift admitted to avoiding entire sections of the hotel after dark. Would you dare to spend a night here, knowing the halls are already occupied by those who never checked out? The Ben Lomond is more than a hotel, it's a mausoleum of unfinished stories, each one bleeding into the next, waiting for new witnesses to hear their cries. 7. Mercure Ghost Town, Tooele County, Utah. High in the Oquirrh Mountains lies Mercure, once a bustling gold mining town that lived fast and died young. Founded in the late 1800s, it thrived for a brief, furious moment before fires, accidents, and economic ruin turned it into a ghost of itself. Now, only ruins remain, scattered across the hills like bones. Hikers who brave the climb to Mercure often speak of an eerie presence, a weight pressing down as soon as they cross into the old town site. Some report hearing laughter drifting on the wind, as though the saloons are still alive with drunken miners. Others describe the sharp smell of smoke, phantom reminders of the devastating fire that consumed much of the town. One legend tells of a prospector who struck it rich but was murdered before he could leave the mines. His restless spirit is said to guard the hills, appearing as a shadowy figure that follows wanderers, keeping just out of sight. Hikers have reported feeling pursued, and only to turn and find no one there, just the crunch of unseen footsteps fading into the dust. But perhaps the most chilling tales come from the cemetery that still clings to the hillside. Visitors claim to see ghostly lights moving among the graves, flickering like lanterns. Some have even heard voices reciting prayers in the night, their words lost to the wind. Mercure may be empty, but the silence here is deceptive. Beneath it lies a chorus of voices trapped between fortune and fire, unwilling to let the mountains forget. 8. Ogden's Union Station, Ogden, Utah. Trains no longer thunder into Ogden's Union Station as they once did, but the echoes remain. built in the late 19th century. This grand terminal was once the gateway to the west, its polished floors crossed by soldiers, drifters, and lovers saying farewell. But with so many stories beginning and ending here, some never found closure. The first thing visitors notice is the sense of being watched. The station is now a museum. Yet staff report shadowy figures drifting through the old hallways long after closing time. One janitor recalled pushing his cart down the main concourse when a man in a fedora passed him. Silent and purposeful. The figure vanished before reaching the end of the hall, leaving only the faint scent of cigar smoke. Ghostly footsteps echo from the platforms, where soldiers once boarded trains bound for war. Some claim to hear muffled conversations in empty waiting rooms, as though travelers are still anxiously awaiting their departures. A woman in white has been seen wandering the halls, her gaze fixed on the tracks, her form dissolving when approached. Perhaps the most unsettling accounts come from the basement, where old records and artifacts are stored. Workers speak of sudden temperature drops, the sound of shuffling papers, and the faint cry of a child when no one is there. Would you dare to descend alone into the shadows beneath the station? Ogden's Union Station remains a crossroads, not only of rails and history, but of the living and the dead where journeys never truly end. 9. Mountain Meadows Massacre Site near Vail, Utah. Not all hauntings are born from old houses or forgotten mines. Some are born from the weight of sorrow itself. Mountain Meadows looks like a serene stretch of grassland, but beneath its beauty lies one of Utah's darkest chapters. In September of 1857, over 100 immigrants traveling westward were massacred here. Men, women, and children caught in a violent storm of betrayal and blood. Standing here, the silence feels unnatural. Locals claim that when the wind sweeps across the meadow, it doesn't whistle, it wails. Visitors often report hearing cries on the breeze, or whispers carried through the tall grass. Some see spectral wagons moving across the plains, flickering lanterns bobbing as if families are still making their doomed journey. A chilling legend tells of a man who stopped at the site late one night. He claimed to see a young girl in pioneer dress standing alone in the grass. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with terror. When he approached, she vanished, leaving only the faint sound of sobbing in the night. Many believe the ground itself is cursed, forever marked by the betrayal and slaughter that unfolded here. Even the soil seems reluctant to forget, as if soaked in memories too heavy to wash away. To stand here is to feel the weight of unfinished prayers, echoes of voices silenced too soon, lingering like a wound that never healed. Mountain Meadows is not just haunted, it's a place where history itself refuses to be buried. 10. Silver Reef Ghost Town, Leeds, Utah. The desert winds carry secrets through the broken remnants of Silver Reef, a once thriving silver mining town in southern Utah. Imagine walking its dusty streets at dusk, when the sandstone cliffs catch the dying light like embers, and silence hangs so heavy it seems alive. Locals whisper that Silver Reef never truly died, its miners simply refused to leave. In the late 1800s, and Silver Reef boomed with life, saloons overflowing, and fortunes being won and lost by the hour. But with wealth came violence. Shootouts were common, and the cemetery filled quicker than the town could bear. Many of the dead were buried hastily, their debts unpaid, their grudges unresolved. Visitors today report seeing ghostly figures wandering among the crumbling stone walls. Miners in dusty coats, their boots dragging across the gravel as if returning from the shafts. Others hear phantom hammering, the rhythmic clang of pickaxes echoing in the night, though the mines have been abandoned for more than a century. One chilling tale tells of a traveler who camped near the old graveyard. As the wind rose, he heard footsteps crunching the gravel around his tent. When he stepped outside, he found no one, only faint boot prints circling his campfire, leading off toward the ruins. Would you dare to sleep here, with the miners' ghosts still staking their claim on the land? Silver Reef stands as a reminder some towns don't fade into dust. They linger, tethered by greed, tragedy, and shadows that refuse to rest. The deserts, mountains, and forgotten towns of Utah carry more than just history. They carry whispers, shadows, and echoes that refuse to fade. From ghost towns frozen in time to cursed lands where reality itself bends, these stories remind us that silence is never truly empty. When you visit Utah, look closely into the night sky, or listen carefully to the wind sweeping across the canyons. You might hear footsteps that don't belong to the living. Because in Utah, the past is never gone. It's only waiting for you. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this chilling journey, don't forget to like, comment with your favorite haunted location, and subscribe for more weekly videos from the shadows.